Hello, Math Camp folks. So this is just a quick follow-up to our class session on Sunday. And one of the things that we talked about was how the Earth is about 25,000 miles all the way around it. And we know that pi represents the relationship between the circumference of a circle and its diameter. And as we also learned or reviewed, a diameter is 2 times the radius, or 2 radii, if we want to get all fancy. And so this is the equation that we had, which is that pi equals circumference over diameter for any circle. And so we could multiply both sides by d. These d's cancel out, and we get d times pi, or pi times d, equals the circumference. And then if we want to solve for the diameter, we could divide both sides by pi. Those cancel out, and we get d equals circumference over pi. We know that pi is 3.14159, and we know the circumference is about 25,000. And so if we type in 25,000 divided by 3.14159, we get about 8,000 miles as the diameter. Now let's see if this works. If we go into Google Earth for a second and we use our measuring tool, which is right up here, and we're going to do a path from about North Carolina. We started by going to Hawaii, right? And that's about almost 5,000 miles. If we keep going, I'm just going to sort of follow this path, see where it takes me through Australia, up to 14,000 miles, and we'll keep going across Africa and say up to here, and by the time we get back, we're at about 25,000 miles around the Earth. So that works in terms of measuring, but the Earth going across it is only 9,000 miles, and we said that a diameter would have been 8,000 miles. So what's up with that? Why is it longer going across the Earth like this? Well, part of the answer, and again this comes back to being precise, is that the Earth is not a circle, right? If it were, this would work. But the Earth is a sphere. And so it's not exactly a sphere. It's not perfectly round, but it's pretty close. And so if we scroll down a little bit here, we can see some neat stuff about volumes of spheres. And we'll get to this later on in our math camp. So 4/3 pi times the radius cubed would give you the volume. We'll get into that down the road. And you can also figure out the surface area of a sphere. And so I was playing around with spheres. Come back to sphere for a second, a little bit. And if you took all the water on the Earth and made it into a sphere, it would be only that size, which is weird because there's water all over the Earth, but it isn't that deep. And a sphere would be pretty tall in terms of water. I think that the deepest part of the oceans are maybe 7 or 8 miles deep. And if we took all that water and put it in a ball, that ball, according to this website here, which you can go to, it's a U.S. Geological Services website, I believe, usgs.gov. It says here that the diameter would be 860 miles across, which you probably wouldn't think of. And then this smaller bubble here, the one over Kentucky, represents the liquid fresh water that's in groundwater, swamp water, rivers, and lakes. And then this tiny bubble over Atlanta, Georgia, which you might not even be able to see depending on the resolution of your screen, but there is a tiny bubble right there. That's all the fresh water in the lakes and rivers on the planet, and that's most of what we use to drink from. So again, math sort of helps us get some context on our planet. And I shared this with a friend of mine who's really into math, and he told me that everyone on Earth would fit in a cubic mile. And I thought, there's no way everyone would fit in that. But in fact, a cubic mile is 147,197,952,000 cubic feet. You can look that up if you want. And on average, you could put a person in a 2-foot by 2-foot by 6-foot box. So 24 cubic feet per person. And people would fit, this website is from 2006 up here, but they're saying the population is 6.7 billion. We know that today the population of the world is about 7 billion. So there'd be a little more overflow, but basically within 2 cubic miles, you could fit every single person on Earth, which helps us better understand how that's all the water that's on the Earth, because the Earth is a sphere. So this is coming up on 7 minutes. I don't want it to go quite that long, but this is just an example of how math can help us get some better perspective on our world. And I'll just leave you with this nice little image here. If you were to add up the United States, China, India, Eastern Europe, Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Japan. It says on here Mexico too, but I'm not sure. Yeah, you have to put all those together. When you add them all up, I guess there's some empty spaces in here. That's one Africa. And on a lot of maps that you see, Africa doesn't look that big, and we'll talk about that some more as we go forward in Math Camp. So thanks for listening to this short screencast, and I look forward to working with you guys as we move forward. Take care.